The global entertainment world is shaking again. Not because of an official announcement from the agency, nor because of a leaked comeback teaser or world tour poster, but simply from small hints, brief moments, and snippets of statements that felt unusual. The names Taehyung and Jungkook are once again rocking the ARMY universe. Surprisingly, this commotion is not limited to fans. International media outlets have started discussing it, global timelines are buzzing, and even the term NASA has been dragged into it. Not literally, but as a symbol of how much attention the world is paying to these two names. It all started with an unusual silence. Usually, major tours are announced in a predictable pattern: schedule, poster, logo, then teaser. But this time was different. There was no official announcement, but the world felt like it was waiting for something huge. Several international entertainment media outlets began writing speculative articles. They didn't mention dates or cities, but used phrases like possible global movement, unprecedented anticipation, and two names that moved the world without saying a word. And those two names? None other than Jungkook and Taehyung. Taekook, global impact without a stage. What makes this situation even more interesting is the fact that Taekook hasn't done anything explicitly. There was no live announcement of a tour. There were no interviews confirming joint plans. But that's precisely where the explosion lies. One post, one old video clip that went viral again, one ambiguous sentence. All of it was immediately drawn to one conclusion by the public. If Jungkook and Taehyung move together, the world will move with them. Some pop culture observers even call this phenomenon the Taekook effect, a condition in which two individuals are able to create global euphoria simply by their existence. NASA joins the conversation. Symbolic, not a statement. The mention of NASA's name is actually more of a symbolic expression on social media. ARMY uses it to describe how unreasonable the scale of global attention to this possible tour is. Comments such as, "This isn't a normal tour, it's outer space level. The scale is like a rocket launch. If Taekook goes on tour, the world will stop for a moment," went viral, until finally the phrase NASA-level hype spread widely. The media also picked up on the term as a metaphor, not a fact, about how extreme global enthusiasm is. International media began to sniff out the story. Several major entertainment media outlets did not refer to it as a tour, but used terms such as joint global appearance, possible collaborative movement, unannounced but anticipated worldwide event. This is important. It means that even without confirmation, the media saw something that could not be ignored. Jungkook and Taehyung are not just idols. They are cultural phenomena. Why is the world so reactive? The answer is simple yet profound. Taekook carries an emotional narrative. It's not just about the voice, visuals, or popularity. It's about a closeness that feels real, body language that is difficult to fake, a long history witnessed by the public, and a connection that continues to provoke interpretation. When two figures like this are brought together in a potential project, the world doesn't wait for an announcement. The world speculates first. The silence that feels louder than an announcement. What makes ARMY most anxious is the silence itself. There is no denial, no clarification. No, it's not true. And in the entertainment world, silence often means wait. It's as if the world is in a pre-explosion phase. All eyes are on one question. If this hasn't even been announced yet, and it's already this big, what will happen when it is announced? Closing, is the world ready? Whether it's a tour, a collaboration, or something completely unexpected, one thing is clear. Jungkook and Taehyung don't need to say much to make the world go wild. It hasn't been announced yet, but it's already causing a stir. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's already gone global. And if that day ever comes, the day when Taekook stands on the same stage for the world, maybe even the term NASA-level hype would feel still not big enough. And that's where the emotional tension rose even higher. The world seemed to hold its breath. Interestingly, this global reaction felt like a simultaneous response. From Asia, Europe, America, to Latin America, ARMY talked about the same thing in a similar tone. Anticipation mixed with nervousness. Not because they were afraid of disappointment, but because their hopes felt too big to say out loud. Some fans even wrote, "I'm afraid to hope, but I also can't stop hoping." That simple sentence represents the feelings of millions of people. Taekook is not just a popular duo. They are a collective memory. Every possibility involving them always brings back old moments, little laughs behind the scenes, glances caught on camera without planning, and silences that speak more honestly than words. Why is Taekook always different? In an industry full of collaborations, the possibility of a joint project shouldn't be a big deal. But with Taekook, it's a different story. Every time they're together, it always feels natural, as if the public is just a witness, not the target. This is what makes the speculation about Taekook's tour feel alive. Not because of the promise of great entertainment, but because there are unresolved emotions in the eyes of the fans. There is a feeling that something once began, was put on hold, and maybe, just maybe, will continue in a bigger form. The media begins to change its tone. Interestingly, some media outlets that were initially skeptical are beginning to change their writing style. From being cold and neutral, they are now full of questions. Their headlines no longer deny, but ask, why is the world reacting before any announcement? What makes Jungkook and Taehyung move global attention so effortlessly? These questions point to one important thing. This phenomenon cannot be explained by ordinary promotional logic. Between reality and imagination, of course, there has been no official statement. And it is important to remember that all of this is still in the realm of speculation. But that is precisely where Taekook's power lies. They stand on the thin line between reality and public imagination, real enough to be felt, vague enough to be interpreted. ARMY doesn't build rumors out of thin air. They read patterns, recognize habits, and sense small changes that often escape the casual eye. For longtime fans, every detail feels meaningful. If it's not a tour, then what is it? Some observers have suggested other possibilities. A special appearance, a limited project, or even just a moment that will be remembered for a long time, even if it's brief. But whatever form it takes, one thing remains unchanged. The reaction is too big to ignore. Even if it turns out to be no tour, this phenomenon has proven something very clear. The names Jungkook and Taehyung, when put together, are a global force. And if it really is a tour, imagine for a moment. The stage lights come on. Those two names are called together. Cheers echo not just in one country, but around the world. Not just a concert, but an emotional celebration for those who have waited so long. If that day ever comes, then today's excitement is just a small prologue to something much bigger. And until that day arrives, the world will continue to ask, speculate, and hope. Because Taekook never needs to be announced to be felt.